I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the August 23rd, 2021 school committee meeting. In keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law by Governor Baker on June 16th, 2021.
Recording in progress.
This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board members will be remote and attendance shall count toward quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live on Facebook and recorded on ECAT. This meeting is open to the public. We'll take questions by the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. Please make sure to include your full name and address. We'll do our best to answer all questions. However, we will not read questions that have already been answered. All right, district updates. Dr. Cabral.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. There is a district update. Actually, there have been some developments at the state level since our last meeting about mask policy. And it actually has an effect on the upcoming agenda items. So I am actually going to suggest that we table those items, and I'll explain why. Shortly after the meeting that we had, our last school committee meeting last week, we discussed the fact that there was not a vote necessary per se, because the policy that was in place in the spring at the end of the last school year was basically, in essence, the policy that was going to continue in terms of universal masking. There are some small tweaks that we may make to that, nothing too substantive, more so, that we will not be wearing masks outside and those kinds of things, everything that we discussed last week. However, the Commissioner of Education, Jeff Riley, and the Governor have since come out publicly and expressed their concern about both the Delta variant and the increase in cases in children across the Commonwealth. And for that reason, tomorrow, Commissioner Riley is going to be asking the Board of Education to vote to give him the authority to determine that there will be universal masking in all public schools for all students and all staff, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, until October 1st. And that after October 1st, unvaccinated staff and students will only be allowed to remove their masks once the school can prove that 80% of their staff and 80% of their students are vaccinated. Now, obviously, that is very different, for example, the pre-K to 2 schools and the high school, as pre-K to 2 students up to age 11 are not able to get the vaccine at this point. We don't know when exactly that's going to happen, but that is the Commissioner's proposal to the Board of Education tomorrow. Because that meeting is tomorrow, we obviously don't know if that is going to go through. And since our next school committee meeting is scheduled to be Thursday, we are extremely hopeful, especially given the very short amount of time before schools in Massachusetts come back online, some who already have. We are extremely hopeful that by Thursday evening, when we meet, we will have some written guidance from the Commissioner. So for that reason, I think it would make sense, before you make any of the changes to your mask policy, not substantive, as I said, you made it clear that you supported the district's recommendation that we had universal masking. The development is just that the Governor and the Commissioner have now also moved in that direction for all districts in the Commonwealth. I think it would be wise to wait until after that vote tomorrow. And again, hopefully we will receive further written guidance about that we can incorporate into our playbook by Thursday. So we are really working hard to get all of our communications in line. The problem is people can see, I think things are changing in real time. And what we don't want to do is cause any unnecessary confusion and be pushing out information that literally is changing day by day. So we are frustrated we don't have this in place. We are planners by nature. We have everything lined up and ready to go. We just need to see what's going to happen tomorrow. And again, what guidance comes from that, incorporate it into our policy guides, our guidelines, our playbook, and our FAQs, which we're going to put all that out again as soon as possible. We think this will be the last significant vote before the start of the school year. Certainly, we don't know that that's the case, but we are prepared to get our information fine-tuned and send it out as soon as we receive this piece of information. So for those reasons, I would suggest we table the conversation. I do not have superintendent notes. Mrs. Pruitt doesn't have assistant superintendent notes unless there are school committee notes. I am going to recommend that we wait until that information comes our way so we can make a more educated and comprehensive packet of information for the community on Thursday.
All right, so I just want to make sure that I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing. It makes the most sense, and I agree, to not make any changes to any of our guidelines or policies until we have all the information. Otherwise, we're doing it now, we're doing it again on Thursday, and that's just confusing. So then that would mean that maybe we should table items 3 through 7. And if the school committee agrees with that, could I get a motion to table 3 through 7? Or if you don't, I welcome comments.
O'Neill, so moved.
Can I get a second?
Star, second.
All right, roll call vote.
O'Neill, yes.
Durant, yes.
Luca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Okay, so then that would bring us to executive session. And before I do that, I just want to, for the public, our next meeting would be Thursday, August 26th at 5 o'clock, and these items will be moved to that agenda. All right, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session, not to return to open session for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to collective bargaining for the Easton Educators Association, units A, B, and paraprofessionals. And in my opinion, having this discussion in public would be detrimental to the bargaining position of the school committee. Can I get a motion?
I think you made the motion. You just need a second, right?
DeLuca, second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
O'Neill, yes.
Durant, yes.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
All right. Thank you. I will see you in executive.